Welcome to the 25th SOLIDWORKS Power User Challenge. I will provide you with this file. It was created in SOLIDWORKS 2017. If you use an earlier version of SOLIDWORKS, you can create it yourself. So let's examine some of the dimension I'm using. For the base sketch, it's an arc with a 40-inch diameter. The slit, it's half an inch, and it's symmetrical in regards to a vertical line that goes through the origin. The length of the base flange is 200 inch. Now all these dimensions I'm going to be able to change as needed using Instant 3D. There is also a cutout that's based on a sketch created on the front plane. Notice the sketch is not fully defined, so I can move it and resize it any way I want. The cut is a through all cut in one direction, in a direction that is opposite to the slit. So now with the Instant 3D on, let's turn on the visibility of the sketch and move things around. So as you can see, the cutout updates when I change my diameter, when I change the location, I can play with it as much as I want. I also provide you with a flat pattern configuration that would naturally flatten the part. There is one more thing. There is a custom property called tab W that starts with a value of 1. So this is what you get in the downloaded file. Let's analyze the end results, what we hope to get out of here. So this is the default configuration similar to what you downloaded. There is a flat pattern configuration. So these are the two configurations that you receive. So let's switch to front orientation. You will create two other configuration. One is going to be called mid ribs, and it's going to contain two ribs that are going to be going through the middle of the cutout. So if I were to run the neutral fiber of this rib, it will be equally spaced in regards to the vertical ribs, so horizontal, vertical. They would cross exactly in the middle of the cutout. The width of one of these ribs is equal to tab W. So tab W is actually the width of the rib. So that's goal number one. Make sure that they are always in the center. If I move this whole around, so let's try to do it in the default configuration. So I'm just going to make it maybe bigger. Go back to mid ribs. I expect that the two ribs will go exactly through the middle of each direction. So they would be equally, so this one is 31.309, the other one is 31.309. Obviously here it's kind of harder to measure. I need to find the middle of them and the intersection with the original cutout, but they should be always equal. The next step, you will create another configuration where you will multiply these ribs in order to create a vent-like feature. You don't have to use the vent feature for that. Maybe I'm a bit too ambitious with 1 inch for the tab width. Let's make it 3. Rebuild. And you can see it updates obviously much faster. If I move again this hole, the location of the sketch, I expect the ribs to update and the vent to update based on those rules. So the rules are this will always go to the center, and for the vent, the spacing between, so I'm talking about the gap between two ribs to be equal to the width of the rib. It's not about the pitch, it's just the gap between them. The goal is to have a very resilient behavior. So if I move this around, I want this to update accordingly. Let's go back for a second on default because I kind of lost my bearings where the hole is. So let's put it somewhere in here. Maybe make it a bit smaller and move it to a more extreme position. Let's take a look at the mid ribs configuration. You might need to do in my case, I need to do a control Q in order to get it to update. So it goes through the center. If I go to the vent, it's doing it the way I describe it. I'm really curious, what are the solutions you're gonna find? And based on your solutions, I think we are ready to launch a second challenge that's gonna feed off this one. Again, all these features are gonna be added in the flat pattern after the flat pattern feature. Don't concern yourself with trying to make this look nice in the formed configuration. Thank you.